We had no interest in putting our messages into this movie, but we thought that we should honour Tolkien by putting his messages into it.
One of the great things about the movies is Peter Jackson was able to take, experienced actors, but also these kind of up-and-coming actors and trust them into being the people to play those roles. That's something that you wanted to do as well, that you wanted to cast the best actors that you possibly could.
Find someone who's an amazing performer and then find people who have Middle-earth in them.
Mm-hmm. The generation that comes after us now, this will be their memory of Tolkien.
We're choosing to tell it in these times, so we should represent it for these times.
We are both activists off screen. We have a deep-rooted connection to serve our communities.
Especially those fans that look like us.
Yeah.
She is the first female dwarf that we have ever seen on screen. She is the first dwarf of colour.
There will no longer be a time where you can say there are no elves of colour. So we erased that one.
We don't change anything, but we interpret everything.
He cared passionately about certain issues, and we thought what we should do to honour him is to make sure that what he cared about ends up in the movie. That's what we tried to do.
Every woman on the show, every female character, we don't serve the men around us.
The cliche is that the male character comes in and sweeps the woman off her feet, and this is the opposite of that.
I am a person of color.
I'm the first elf of color, So I thought also it would be beautiful to bring something that was of our people.
And the first time that we see a black woman in this area and this world and these works of Tolkien. And we are acknowledging, of course, all different shapes, sizes and worlds.
I was a huge fan of the films when they came out. One thing that was hard for me was that I didn't see myself represented, and this was a pivotal thing for me. The movie franchise, and a lot of respect for it, and I felt very represented spiritually and intellectually, but not in image. There was no one that looked like me. I know a new generation, but also adults are gonna feel, that's my guy, that's me. Now I exist in this world,
This is necessary. This is a revolutionary moment within our time. And to be the poster child of accessibility for people of colour, for women. Now we see us. Now we're here. We are heard. We are seen. It is our time and it's our turn. As a female dwarf, it's time for so many people who may have not seen themselves staring right back at them on a screen to have that chance and to have that turn. It is everything. It is everything for people of colour. It is everything to progress forward. There are so many diverse people out there, but now they get to see themselves staring back at them. To be able to stare at a screen and see a version of themselves staring right back at them. What a great way to relive Tolkien's work.
Yeah.
Obviously, we no longer have the great J.R.R. Tolkien around. What is the aspect of the show you would most love to get his thoughts on?
There's a lot of conversations about female characters of color. There's a big conversation happening. I would like to have that conversation with him. I do think he would give a resounding F yeah.
Suddenly there are black hobbits. I'm a black hobbit. It's brilliant. So we're an indigenous population of hobbits, but we're called Harfoots. And we're multicultural. We're a tribe, we're not a race. So there are black and Asian and brown. And there's a very strong female presence in this. There are going to be female heroes in this evocation of the story.
If you want him, come and claim him.
There are going to be female heroes in this evocation of the story.
Richard Taylor has also been one of the single most important people involved on this production, because Richard has, with enormous dedication and enthusiasm, taken on one of the most difficult jobs.
We chose to look after the design, the fabrication and the on-set operation of the special makeup effects and prosthetics, the armour, the weapons, the creatures and the miniatures.
I think Richard made over 45,000 different items for the film, including the miniatures and the prosthetics.
So his workload over the 3 or 4 years that he has been involved has just been phenomenal.
He's a very charismatic guy, so a very great leader. So his people were really devoted to him and to the task, and their work showed it.
Employing mainly young people whose primary expertise was not in filmmaking, but whose talents had been recognised by Richard Taylor because they were artists of one sort or another.
The Weta workshop is very much a physical and spiritual extension of Richard Taylor and Tanya Roger, because it embodies every molecule of philosophy of Richard's work ethic.
So where do I start? Peter has told me that he wants to make Lord of the Rings, and a great fortune for us, he wants to make it with us. How do I inspire in this young group of New Zealand designers and technicians the philosophies and the vision that will carry this film for 5 years and deliver it onto the world stage in a way that's worthy to the written literature of Tolkien? Gathering around us a like-minded group of young New Zealanders, I very much believed, as I do today, what I said to them then. If you couldn't rise to the highest level of enthusiasm, passion and professionalism and grasp this task as if it was the most important thing that you have ever taken on in your life, you weren't worthy of the task. We had been blessed with the opportunity to bring a piece of modern English folklore to the screen.
So in the teaser trailer, and obviously with a lot of stuff that you've probably read about it, we're introduced to the first black elf. We're introduced to the first female dwarf. Now, diversity, especially on screen as an actor, means a lot to me, because growing up, I hardly had that, you know, watching TV and watching a lot of films and stuff. I never saw people of my colour. So it's exciting to see that, you know, diversity is being explored in the Rings of Power. What are your thoughts on the casting decisions?
I'm very excited for it, because Tolkien's work was always about being inclusive. I mean, we see it through the Fellowship, like a bunch of people from different backgrounds coming together, and just seeing the casting decisions. It's really, really exciting to see. It's just going to mean so much to like me personally, because it's getting that representation in Middle-earth. Young kids are going to see that on screen, and it's just going to be really nice for them to be like, oh hey, there's someone that looks just like me, being like an elf and a dwarf, and yeah, it just fills me with a lot of hope for like the future of the Rings of Power and seeing like much more diversity being included as well.
What about you, Chanel?
In the original film series, which I absolutely adored, but there are not many women in it, and the 3 women who are in it never speak to one another. I don't really. So it will be so cool to be able to see more female representation, to maybe see them actually interact with one another. Very excited to see it.
What about you, Kels?
It just makes me so excited for the next generation, because, like, as you said, like, growing up, like, I was still excited about being an elf or a hobbit and joining in with it, even though I wasn't represented, like, even, like, my disability or my queerness wasn't represented. It just makes me so happy. It makes my heart warm.
I love that we're going so far back. Especially, I think there's something very cool with prequels in the way that they can make you love the things you already love even more. So the fact that we're going to be seeing things that are potentially going to make us love the Hobbit films and the Lord of the Rings films, and potentially the books as well.
I think probably for me the toughest was Elijah.
All right. And cut. That's great. We'll check the gate. Good. Lovely last shot.
Thank you, Pete. Man, I'll never forget it. It's imprinted upon my memory for the rest of my life. Burst into tears. And he just said thank you over and over again.
Oh, Peter. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been so amazing, Peter.
You've been so amazing. You've been great. Thank you very, very much.
Righto, everybody.